never be able to explain this. I can watch war footage. I can watch people get their heads blown off, right? And like, because you can just find that shit on YouTube. Like it's age gated, but you can watch actual combat footage on YouTube, and you can find it on Twitter pretty easily. I can't watch people get beat up, right? I can't watch people get like beat up or tortured, and I can't watch someone get like injured, right? Like if they're like on a skateboard and they break their leg or something. I can't watch that shit, dude. It's disgusting. I can't. We'll be watching like some stupid like medical drama show like Grey's Anatomy, and someone's eye will pop out and I'll be like, whoa, right? I'll lose my mind. But find me a video of the Syrian civil war and some guy's walking down the street and just gets like half his head blown off, and I'm like, damn, that was crazy. And I'll rewind it, I'll watch it again, like, what the like, that's total, like, it's obviously horrible, but it doesn't give me that same visceral reaction as watching someone like, you know, break their hand or something, or their fingers. Goku Kaioken ×3? Dude's wide, dude. Dude's wide, though. Why? Damn, dude gets wide. Oh. Wait, it's like... I think about this. I think about this a lot. I think about that all the time. That could be me. This could be me. This could be me. I could do this. I could be this. I don't know why. They're, like, the extended version of it is just like, it's just, they just follow him the entire way through the hallway. I just don't get it. Don't you rub your carbs in my face, Moisak. Kamala is streaming. How about you throw me a link? How about you throw me a link instead of just telling me where is she streaming? Is she streaming to YouTube? Is she streaming to Trovo? Is she streaming to twitch.tv/Kamala Harris? Jesus. With Modi? Oh, we'll watch her Twitch stream. I'm gonna follow the Harris campaign. Let's go. What do you mean that Putin walks like a cat? I need you to explain that one to me. Oh no, people are posting the ceasefire now memes. Here, 1 second. I'm gonna contribute. Oh wait, no. Wait, how do I get rid of some of these emotes? Go away. There we go. 30 minutes to chat. Okay, we're gonna keep this one locked and loaded. Look how he walks. Putin doesn't walk like a cat. He walks like a man. All right, he walks like a man. How long do we have until it starts? I wish they had like a starting soon plus the time, but okay, whatever. We'll watch this for a second.
Trump and Kamala.
The League of Legends pro player, which one?
Harris now back out on the campaign trail after Tuesday night's debate. Donald Trump returning to a rally crowd in Arizona. He spoke for more than an hour, claiming victory in the debate while attacking the moderators. And he also repeated some of the debunked claims he made involving migrants, the 2020 election, and crowd sizes. We, of course, heard those also on the debate stage.
Residents are reporting that the migrants are walking off with the town's geese and even walking off with their pets.
Oh man, they're doing him dirty on the side view there, dude. Oh, it's brutal. Where are we? Okay, let's go back.
Of course, heard those also on the debate stage.
Residents are reporting that the migrants are walking off with the town's geese and even walking off with their pets. My dog's been taken. And they said we lost. I was told if I got 63 million votes, which is what I got in 2016, you can't lose. Just get 63. I got close to 12 million more votes than that. And we lost, but we didn't lose. Her crowds are zero. Her crowd.
He's so insecure, dude. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. How do conservatives try to like make this guy seem so strong when he's such a crybaby little bitch about every single thing that he's ever like not done well? He acts like a loser. He acts like a loser. And I feel like someone who's like constantly like, I didn't lose, you lost, you lost, you lost, I didn't lose. Like that's like the like least powerful thing, the least masculine thing that you could possibly do. And yet they still want to say that like the Dems are the weak, effeminate, little like intellectual girly men. And it's like, damn, dude, this guy's going around like constantly claiming that he both won and he lost and he won and he lost. Hey, f you, Account Boy. You're lucky I'm using a new little system here to look at chat. Otherwise, I would totally ban you.
She's got no crowds. They bus the people in. They pay buses to bring people. Nobody here rode in on a bus.
They pay for shuttle services because they have so many people that they have to park far away, so they shuttle them in. Yeah. I'm sorry. Oh, man. Real quick. Just to give you guys an idea of where we're at. This is my girlfriend's snack right now. This is my girlfriend's snack. This is what happens when you go on keto. You just starve to death. You just starve, dude. Sondsol would never ban me. You are flying close to the sun there, boy Icarus. Eggs are a boy's best friend. We do have eggs. We should eat some eggs today.
All right, joining me now is Sabrina Rodriguez, national political reporter for The Washington Post. Sabrina, good morning. Wonderful to see you. You were at this Trump rally.
My girlfriend is vegetarian, but she is going off of vegetarian for the duration of keto. Otherwise, it would be just way too hard. She tried to do pescatarian keto before, and it was really, really difficult for her. So she's doing chicken and pork right now. She can't do beef. They're too cute.
Yesterday, we of course also heard from Trump that he doesn't want to participate in a third debate. He says there will be no third debate. What did you see on the ground there? What were your takeaways from that?
Ah, man, Econo Boy, you're going to stun lock me. It's because we have a wedding to go to in 2 months-ish, and we're trying to lose weight fast.
Rally that we can't see from just watching the sound bites.
I think the number one thing I will say, Casey, was seeing the number of people who do.
I'll see if I'll throw your name out there, Testicle Johnson.
I think obviously that came up during the debate and hearing Vice President Kamala Harris sort of take a jab at him and get under his skin by mentioning that people leave the rallies early. That was something I was kind of keeping an eye out for yesterday.
Don't do it, Doghouse.
And
he has protection.
I talked to several of the folks that did leave early, and a lot of people that go to Trump's rallies are in line for 6-7 hours before the rally takes place. We saw yesterday in Tucson over 100+ degree weather. I mean, because of the heat, there was dozens of people that had to be taken out of the line with heat exhaustion symptoms. And really, we did.
Are they just leave? I thought that they were leaving because it's boring as to be at a Trump rally now, right? Like, I feel like in 2020, we would watch so many Trump rallies, right? And there would be news that came out of Trump rallies. But like now, like you could show me 5 Trump speeches from before the debate, okay? Because after the debate, now he has different talking points because of the supposedly everyone's eating cats and dogs. But before the debate, show me 5 Trump speeches. They will be exactly the same. You won't be able to tell where they like when they happened chronologically. They're boring. You know exactly what he's going to say every single time. It's the same talking points that you've heard for the past 4 years. Yes, Sakana Boy, true. They're leaving because they need to hurry home to protect their dogs and cats from being eaten. Super true. I was the best man at a wedding last weekend. I made 2 people cry with my speech. Dog. Oh shit. Maybe we need to get a fishy po in there, dude. Holy shit. My little brother got married today at a courthouse, and unfortunately I wasn't able to be there. They're gonna have like a bigger ceremony later in October, which I will be able to go to, because my brother and his girlfriend, or I guess his wife, that's gonna take some getting used to, because they are the way that they are. They're having their like ceremony at Texas Renaissance Festival. And it's not even like Texas Ren Fair. Texas Ren Fair wedding. Like they have nice little like wedding venues. Not even gonna lie. Do they have? Yeah, see, like they have this little like ivy covered little chapel right here. Oh, come on. Why? Where are the other ones? Oh, there they are. They got this one, nice little like rose little thing, right? I went to a renewal of vows at this one right here. Wait, where's the? Oh, I guess that's the church, and it's just like it looks super different without the ivy completely covering it. But like my little brother, I mean, he's like a guy that has not full body, but like from his hips all the way up to his armpit, he has this tattooed from his waist. No, not his waist, his hip all the way up to his armpit, right? He has Lord of the Rings tattoos all over him, right? So of course they're going to have their ceremony at Texas Renaissance Festival, which is pretty, I mean, it's kind of cool, but it's also something that I just would never do. But maybe it's just because I'm an insecure person and whatever the case is. But what is your overarching point about the rallies? What do you mean? Where I don't know what you're asking. What is my overall arching point? Like, why do I think people are leaving? I would just say I would assume people are leaving as rallies because it's boring, right? Like they're going there to show solidarity, but then like they don't want to get caught in traffic afterwards. So they're leaving early because they know exactly what he's going to say every single time. He's not telling them anything new. He hasn't said anything new except for the eating cats and dogs thing in probably 6, 7, 8, 9, maybe a full year, like 6 to 9 months or a year. He hasn't come out with anything new to say. It's like watching the same episode of a sitcom over and 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 over. I mean, like the first couple of times, if it's like a really good episode of the sitcom, it's probably funny. But after a while, it's like, I know what the setup is and I know what the joke is going to be, and it's no longer something I'm just going to turn the channel. I'm going to watch something else, you know? This whole election is boring now. No, it's not actually. It's incredibly tight. Like 538 election polls. It's funny how he's copy pasted his insults from Biden to Harris. Yeah, and he seems to be confused about who he's running against. Like it's almost depressing. Oh shit, wait, hold on. It's actually getting a little bit better for Harris since last time I looked. But still, this isn't like, I think that in 2020 it was showing 65 to 35 for Biden versus Trump back in 2020. I can't remember exactly. But last time I looked, it was Harris wins 53, Trump wins 47. It was closer than it is now. But this is still incredibly close. And what the scary thing is, if we go to like the more like Pennsylvania will be an incredibly tight race, and it will also be about as close as you can get to deciding. This one state will be as close as you can get to deciding the actual like results of the race. Oh man. Make own poll or make own electoral map. I couldn't remember the name of the website. Whoops. Like I'm pretty sure Wisconsin is going to go. It's going to be slight, but it's going to go towards the Dems. I think Michigan will as well. Georgia is like a full-on toss-up for me. I would say Nevada, as far as I know, this is something that I haven't looked at for a while, but I'm pretty sure Nevada is closer to Harris wins 55. I'm going to guess that Nevada goes there and Trump wins Arizona. Right? Go away. Right? Georgia is like neck and neck. Right? Yeah, it's 50-50. North Carolina is in play. Oh my God, Harris wins 51 times out of 100. It's a total toss-up, but Pennsylvania is, let's assume that like everything right here goes exactly according to plan, right? And let's say that Georgia and North Carolina go red. It's exactly this state and this is what I think is probably the most likely map as it is right now, right? Now, it's possible that Georgia goes blue, right? But I wouldn't put too much stock in that. It's possible North Carolina goes blue, and that puts her over. But that's not guaranteeing anything, right? Like, Pennsylvania is the state that has to be won by the Dems. Because the Republicans, all they got to do is kill it there. And they have 281 to 257. Silver Bulletin, is that Nate Silver? Man, you know what? When it comes to Nate Silver, after his weird like Trump has a 70 or 65% chance to win thing last week that he put out, I don't know how you can I don't know if I would go to him because I've looked at his analyses. I've looked at several of his analyses that he's put out, right? And it seems like they are, go on, there you go. It seems like, you know, he puts more stock in Trump's camp than he does for the Democrats, right? But like saying Trump has a 60% chance to win and Kamala has like a 35% chance to win. And there's like some percent that it's a possible tie, and there's some percent that like a third party goes in, which is super, super, super unlikely. Like, how the fuck am I supposed to trust Nate Silver with something that's that skewed, you know? When he was like mostly fine leading up, I would probably say that he's a little bit more, you know, he's a little bit more generous to the Republicans than I would probably be when it comes to some of these states and some of the issues that are going on in the states. But after that one, that was wild. Oh yeah. This is something that you sent me and we're going to go into here in a minute. But let's watch this here.
Did leave early, and a lot of people that go to Trump's rallies are in line for 6-7 hours before the rally takes place. We saw yesterday in Tucson over 100+ degree weather. I mean, because of the heat, there was dozens of people that had to be taken out of the line with heat exhaustion symptoms. And really, we did see thousands of people turn out. We did see that some of those folks that I talked to that left early was because it was a middle of the day rally, and seeing, the family commitments, having to pick up kids at school. And a lot of people kind of jabbing at me, talking to them and saying, I'm not leaving because I'm bored, I promise. But I think that was kind of one of the sights to see, and some people expressing disappointment at the idea that there wasn't going to be another debate. A lot of people, Trump supporters there.
Oh man, Trump running away from the current conservative cope of only losers ask for a rematch. Trump signed on to 2 more debates with Joe Biden after Biden lost resoundingly in their first debate. Was he a loser then? Did Biden actually win that debate? It's total cope.
Were saying, they would love to see him take the stage again, and a lot of them, kind of reiterating the points he's making, where he's trying to sell that he won the debate.
Sabrina, can you talk to me a little bit about the state of play on the ground in Arizona? Because, as we're kind of tracking these final, just under 8 weeks of campaigning,
that's terrifying.
Are these questions about each candidate's path to 270. And I've talked to some sources who suggest that Arizona has really moved away from Kamala Harris and toward Donald Trump. I'm curious if you have picked that up in your reporting on the ground there, what your sources are saying to you about it.
I mean, I think, as we'll say with any state, of just how tight it is right now, I think it applies with Arizona as well. But really, I've been looking at the Senate race here between Democratic Congressman Ruben Gallego and Carrie Lake. And that one is the one that sort of gives me this sense that things might be shifting back in Democrats' favors. A couple months ago, if you had asked me, and looking at polls and just talking to folks on the ground in Arizona, it really did look like there was this shift towards the Republican Party. There was this support for Carrie Lake and Donald Trump. And with that shift at the top of...
Carrie Lake is an unelectable weirdo. Okay? She's still saying that she won her governor's race against oh man, I can't remember her name. But she the Democrat that ran against her. The Democrat that ran against her didn't even have to campaign. She didn't do any debates. She didn't do any interviews. She was just there. And she beat Carrie Lake. Because she's weird as because she says some weird shit. Yeah, I've seen that. We'll put that next to this one over here.
The ticket. There's been many more conversations that I've been having with more moderate Republicans and independent voters who are a key group in this state that are much more Kamala Harris curious, are much more into this idea of, a new kind of leadership, a younger candidate at the top of the ticket, are sort of seeing that messaging that is coming from both Ruben Gallego's campaign and the Harris campaign that is actively courting those people in the middle, is actively saying, politics can go back to being normal again, and it doesn't have to be people launching insults at each other. So I think there is this openness, but again, I think, as we see in a lot of these battleground states, just how tight it's going to be, just how much it may come down to those people who are doing the door knocking right now in intense Arizona heat, and sort of what people are listening to on airwaves as well.
Jesus Christ, Moisak. Keep Jesus Christ, dude. Bruh, keep the gooning to a minimum, my God. Jesus Christ.
All right, Sabrina Rodriguez for us this morning. Sabrina, very grateful to have you. Hope you come back soon. Thank you.
Yeah, go away. All right. Let's see. Where is...
Pleasure. You're the best. I love you.
Why do you keep on playing? Springfield City School District tells ABC they've evacuated 2 elementary schools, Perrin Woods and Snow Hill Elementary. I can't believe more protests with Trump or Harris loss. I genuinely don't know. I don't know. I think that this is what I'll say. I don't know which result will end up with more protests. But I imagine that if Trump loses, the protests will likely be much more much more active. How about that? Is that nicer to say? More protests with Harris loss, far more violence if Trump loses. Yeah, that's where I was like leaning towards too in my head, but like I just don't know. I do think though, I do think that with the Trump people, like how hyped that they're getting over Trump, like being in a tough spot now in the election, with how he's already trying to do they're already trying to steal the election, you know? I think that, and we'll read this, I do know that there's some weird, wacky shit going on with the Georgia election committee. Oh, shit. Gas, ban that person. I don't have the ability to right now. I'm using ground control, and it doesn't let me click on anything in chat except for links. What was I saying? Oh, but yeah, there's some like weird shit. Oh, internet gas not listening. Cool. Based of you. Let me open this up. There we go. You can make me a mod? No, I don't know about that. You say stuff that pisses me off and I might time you out and then I'll have to make you a mod again. Ugh, that's rough. But anyway, yeah, with Georgia, there's some like weird shit that they're doing with the elections committee where they've put a bunch of Trump loyalists on and they've changed some rules to where they can just like indefinitely suspend the results of certain precincts if they don't like the results, you know? And I just don't, like, every accusation is just a confession when it comes to conservatives. Like every single person that says, oh, well, you know, the Democrats are doing election interference and they're doing this and they're doing that. Man, they're trying to overturn things that they just don't like, even if they're correct. But we'll read this because I don't know like the full extent of anything. I've just heard things in passing about this. So, at his rally last Saturday night, Donald Trump praised 3 members of the Georgia State Election Board, calling them pit bulls fighting for honesty, transparency, and victory. Trump lavished praise and attention on these members of the obscure state agency by name. The odd exchange raised more than a few eyebrows. When I wrote about it earlier this week, I suggested that the least damning explanation was that the 3 who Trump mentioned from the stage, Janice Johnston, Rick Jefferez, and Janelle King, have refused to acknowledge that Joe Biden won Georgia in 2020. We now know that the real reason for Trump's support for the election officials was far more sinister. Late yesterday, the board approved a new rule that seeks to expand the role and authority of county boards of election in the certification process. This new rule redefines the certification process to include reasonable inquiry into whether the results were complete and accurate. The vote to adopt this new rule was 3-2, with the Trump-endorsed members commanding the majority. It seems that Trump was prescient when he said these 3 members would fight for his victory. That this violates state law seems very clear. The obligation of county boards to certify elections is mandatory and ministerial. Nothing in Georgia law permits individual members to impose their own or interpose their own investigations or judgment into a largely ceremonial function involving basic math. For Trump, these legal niceties are beside the point. He wants to be able to pick and choose which election results are accepted based solely on the outcome. This rule is a step in that direction. If the new rule survives the inevitable court challenge, Trump will have another powerful tool in his election subversion arsenal. If it is struck down, which seems more likely, he will claim to be the victim of biased judges and an unspecified conspiracy. If this sounds a lot like the approach Project 2025 takes to the federal civil service, it is because it is the same. The larger lesson from this episode is how much more methodical Trump and his allies' approach to subvert the 2024 election is than in previous years. In 2016, the Trump campaign barely had a legal presence in the battleground states. In 2020, the Trump campaign's approach to the post-election was comically inept. Rather than abandon election denialism, however, the GOP has embraced it. Instead of recoiling from humiliating performance of its legal team, the Trump campaign is redoubling its efforts, but with an important modification. Unable to convince even conservative judges to reject the lawful actions of election officials, Republicans have spent the last 4 years replacing the election officials with election deniers. In an extreme example of personnel being policy, Republicans seek to change the outcome of elections by changing who counts the votes and certifies the election. This sounds a lot... Oh, okay. It is because it is the same. By driving out good, honest workers and replacing them with Trump loyalists, in both instances, Republicans seek specific outcomes regardless of the merits. It is the extreme version of the ends justifying the means. What we saw yesterday in Georgia is not likely the end of the story. From experience, we know two things about Donald Trump. He is completely transactional, and there is always another transaction. He didn't give a verbal seal of approval to the 3 Georgia State Election Board members simply to gain advantage in a single new rule. We can be sure that this is just a start. Trump demands absolute loyalty while giving none in return. He expects that these 3 board members and the other election deniers he has placed in positions of power around the country to deliver his preferred outcome 100% of the time, regardless of the facts or the law. Jesus. I love in one of the reddest districts in the country in North Georgia, people are unhinged, I live in. We have a giant billboard of the Trump fist bump photo after the Trump supporter tried to assassinate him going into our town. It's on a giant billboard. Listen, I grew up in like deep South rural Arkansas. That's where I was born, right? And like whenever I go to visit my family there, all along the way, all along the highway, you see weird Trump billboards with Bible verses. You see people have set up giant displays in front of their houses. It's the weirdest shit in the entire world. And one of the things I think is always super funny, every time I pass it, every year going to visit my family in Arkansas, there was this one sign that was always, it was a billboard in someone's yard, right? So I don't think this is like a commercial space, right? But there's this giant billboard in someone's yard, and it always used to have, Bible verses or Christian messages on it, or, go to church this Sunday type things, right? Ever since, I want to say like 2018, they've replaced all of the Christian stuff with Donald Trump stuff. It's just the irony of every time I like to point out, the MAGA movement seems to be more of like a civic religion than it does to be like a political movement. And then people do stuff like that, and you try and call them out for like the hypocrisy, right? Of the we're all God loving, God fearing people. We're very Christian. We go to church every Sunday, but then you're going to replace this religious symbol that you have erected in your front yard with the leader of the country. I don't know, man. There's something weird there that I think that we could point out, but I'm not sure if they would ever understand it. I'm not sure if they would ever understand it. All right, let's see here. These are the conspiracy cope to explain why Donald Trump lost the debate. Damn it, Elon. Oh God, what did you do this time? We have too many X tabs open, okay? This is not acceptable. It's just dumb. That's the thing. It's just dumb. Oh, look, it looks like we started here just in time.
Okay.
There we
got
go.
Some business to handle. Okay.
So let me start by saying to everyone here, thank you for all you are doing. For taking
Thank you so much for inviting me to sit with you today. It's a pleasure. You're the best. I love you.
Stop.
everyone
Why?
who's here, we are doing. You know, in the midst of this moment where there are people trying to divide us as a nation, trying to make people feel small and feel alone, these are moments that remind all of us that we are all in this together as one loving community.
Cringe. The Palestine people already in chat.
We're all in this together. So thank you all for the time you've taken to be here this evening. I want to thank also all the incredible leaders, including Governor Shapiro, who you heard from earlier, Senator Bob Casey, who we will re-elect to the United States Senate, and
We'll look at it in a
Mayor
second.
Brown, and thank you, Mayor, for the warm welcome.
Twitch
All
streaming.
right, so,
Twitch streaming.
Pennsylvania. 3 days ago, Donald Trump and I had our debate. You watched it. So,
Cackling Kamala.
yeah, so here's the thing. So I take it many people here watched it. So you'll remember that night I talked about issues that matter to families across America, like bringing down the cost of living, investing in America's small businesses, protecting reproductive freedom, and keeping our nation safe and secure. But that is not what we heard from Donald Trump. Instead, it was the same old show, the same tired playbook we've heard for years, with no plan on how he would address the needs of the American people. Well, folks, it's time to turn the page. Turn the page. We're not going back. We're not going back. And we are not going back because America is ready for a new way forward. We are ready for a new generation of leadership that is optimistic about what we can do together. Which is why, and Mary Grace, thank you, which is why Democrats, Republicans, and Independents are supporting our campaign. We need a president of the United States who works for all the American people. And that just stops with all the trying to divide us. Like, people are exhausted with that stuff.
I said that. You know,
And,
I said people were exhausted, and they're just not. They're here for it. They're here to like eat the soy slop that Trump puts out for them, like the little piggies that they are. It's insane.
As Attorney General of California, I took on the big banks and delivered $20 billion from middle-class families who faced foreclosure. I stood up for veterans and students being scammed by big for-profit colleges.
All right, I'm gonna drop a bunch
For
of
workers who are being cheated out of
spinning
the wages they
roaches.
were due. For seniors facing elder abuse. And as Attorney General of a border state, I took on transnational criminal organizations like the Sinaloa cartel that traffic in drugs and threaten the safety of our communities.
drop a bunch of spinning roaches in there. And I think we're good here.
I know these cartels firsthand, and as president, I will make sure we prosecute them to the fullest extent
The
of the
fullest
law
extent of the law.
for pushing poison like fentanyl on our children. And as president, I will fight on behalf of all communities and all Americans. And together,
Oh God, we
will
got the
build
cringe ass
a brighter
Palestine people there, don't we?
for our nation. Together. Together.
Let's see if she responds to the Palestine people real quick. I was about to click off.
And that future we build will include what I call an opportunity economy, so that every American has an opportunity to own a home, to build wealth, and to start a business. You know, I love our small business.
Oh, they must have removed the Palestine person.
Growing up, I really, do we have
Well, we'll come back to this if something crazy happens. But let's see. What did Donald Trump say about Laura Loomer? First, let's see what she said. To the many reporters who are calling me and obsessively asking me to talk to them today, the answer is no. I am very busy working on my stories and investigations and don't have time to entertain your conspiracy theories. I do not work for President Trump. I do not work for anyone, actually. I operate independently out of my love for my country and a love for the truth. I believe in President Trump, his campaign team, and his plan to make America great again. This is why I've dedicated myself, all of my time, all of my resources, all of my focus, and all of my energy, and all of my loyalty to helping this man who is truly our nation's last hope. Man, I can't wait till Kamala wins. I can't wait till Kamala wins and the country doesn't die. And for them to say that it's just the worst economy we've ever had. We've had a bad economy now for 8 years. They're still going to take our guns away, even though they haven't done it yet. They're transing all the kids still, even though it hasn't happened. All the same things that they've been saying for the past 8 years still will not have come true. Still would not have come true. And they're still going to say them. Let me see here. God, she wrote a book. Why is it like this? Oh, she's addressing the allegations that they're having an affair. I'm simply a loyal advocate. The number of phone calls I've received today is very bizarre. Human beings are allowed to have friends. She's talking specifically about the allegations that they're Oh, they're absolutely now. Now we know. Human beings are allowed to travel. Human beings can be selfless. We just need one Trump aide. We just need one turncoat. We just need one turncoat to confirm. We just need one staffer, one singular. There's a rumor that Trump is having an affair with Loomer. Yeah, we went over it earlier, but did I close out the tabs? Here's... Oh, wait, no. This isn't the first one. Did I close out the first one? No. After the Trump assassination attempt, she was the first person he wanted to see the next day, and she started traveling on Trump Force One with him. There's not very many spots on Trump Force One because of the increased security, so it's like many of the people who are the closest to him are still having to fly commercial airlines to go to his different events and his different places all over the country. But for some reason, Laura Loomer is on Trump Force One every single time, even though she's not working for the campaign, even though she doesn't have any position as an advisor or anything. She's just a friend, quote unquote. He wanted me on the plane with him the day after he almost got assassinated. I was with him. I flew with him to the RNC so it could show that I'm a trustworthy person. I have his back. And then there's standing very close here. And that's just like one thing, and that's not really much of anything either. Right? But more and more pictures are coming out of them standing really close, arm in arm and shit like that. It's kind of weird. We got this one.
You today. Pleasure. You're the best. I love you. Yo, thank you so much for inviting me to sit with you today. Pleasure. You're the best. I love you. Yo, thank you so much for inviting me to sit with you today.
Why is it bass boost as soon as I leave the thing, dude? How do you think evangelicals and MAGA Christians will justify Laura Loomer's new role in Trump's campaign? Paula White prayed so hard Monday night for Trump to win the debate, but her prayers couldn't overcome his attention. I don't understand that one. Like, this picture right here is that's a little sussy. Okay, that's a little Little sussy, okay? Just gonna say that, okay? And the clip? What clip? We watched this clip. Let me get rid of some of these tabs. Yeah, she's definitely getting trumped. She's getting trumped hard, okay? I want to see the CNN interview though. I need someone to get me that CNN interview.
The new national Reuters Ipsos poll has Harris ahead by 5 points. Let's take a look at that right now. CNN's Harry Enton is here with much more. Harry, can you give us some context around that margin and the movement that you're seeing in polling post-debate?
Yeah, I think it's rather important, Kate, to point out that the Reuters Ipsos poll has actually been one of Harris's best. So look, you get that 5-point margin, right? That 47-42 that you mentioned post-debate. But that's actually not a lot of movement from where we were in August when Harris was up by 4. Now, that is movement from where we were in late July when Harris was up by 2. But the bottom line here is this. At least in...
I just can't fathom being attracted to Trump. Doesn't make sense to me whatsoever. There are some very strange people that have said some very strange things over the course of his presidency, and it's just like idol worship. It has nothing more to do with it than idol worship, I don't think. You know? Yeah, it's the power in the neck vagina, which was pointed out to me by my girlfriend that he has a neck vagina, and can't look at him the same. Can't look at him the same sense.
In the first polling that we're getting post this debate between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, maybe slight movement in Harris's direction, but not overwhelmingly so, which I don't think is really much of a surprise given the 50-50 nation we are right now. But the bottom line is, in the average of polls, Harris had a slight national lead, and at this particular point, I think she'll probably hold on to that, at least based upon this initial signal.
Yeah, didn't hurt her. Maybe, but
no.
It didn't also, like, it wasn't, the nail in the coffin for a Donald Trump candidacy
spit it out,
either,
lady.
which is exactly kind of what people expected with this debate in the 50-50 nation we are in right now. What is the biggest difference, though, you see in polls, these polls, compared to those that came after the Biden-Trump debate in June?
Yeah, I mean, look, it all comes down to mental state and being able to deal with challenges. All right, so mental sharp and can deal with challenges. Look at this. Back in the post-June debate, right, look at that. 52% of voters said that, in fact, Trump was mentally sharp and can deal with challenges. Look at the Joe Biden number. It was just 26%.
That's so rough.
Now,
leave him alone, dude. He's already dead.
58% in the post-September debate poll said that Harris...
Oh, damn, that's so brutal, dude. Harris is the next Hillary, she will lose. Well, I mean, like, it's entirely possible that she loses. I mean, I don't think any of us have said anything different.
Mentally sharp and can deal with challenges. Trump's number actually dropped below 50%, down to just 46, so that 52 to 46. So this was the big change that I think a lot of Democrats are hoping for when they switched out Biden for Harris. It came down to mental sharpness, and the bottom line is the clear majority of voters believe that Kamala Harris is mentally sharp and deal with challenges, and the number for Trump, that declined by 6 points between post-June and post-September. I think that's a very welcome sign for Democrats. So on the top line, maybe not so much movement nationally, but underneath the hood, I think Democrats really have to like what they see.
In talking with people on TV from the Harris campaign and then hearing from Democrats involved with the campaign, one of the things you hear is that everyone feels they did great in the debate. The question is, can it reach the undecided voters?
Yeah.
And I'm not sure they have an answer, or at least not the answer they want yet. So it leads me to this question. Rita, what really is an undecided voter? Where are they and who are they?
True.
Yeah.
Who the doesn't know who they're voting for at this point?
Part of the challenge here is that undecided voters are undecided because they're not really focused on this campaign. They are low information voters. They tend to be younger. And likely they didn't watch the debate. They may be seeing some social media on it. But
if they see some social media on it and it's all young people, if they're undecided and they are likely voters, bro, that's gonna be real bad. It's gonna look real rough. It's gonna look real rough for the Trump campaign.
they're hard to reach voters, and they may make the difference in this race.
Are they undecided between the candidates, or are they undecided about whether they show up to vote?
Well, I think a little of both. I think one important thing to note is they probably have a pretty strong judgment about Donald Trump. They're skeptical about politics generally. They don't particularly like Trump, but they don't know very much about Kamala Harris. They're open to her, but they're also prepared to be disappointed by her as well. So a big task for the campaign is to continue to fill in the picture of her, and particularly around sort of transactional issues about the economy. Like, what is she going to do for me?
On that note, one of the things you hear in the chattering club.
All right. So something that I was planning on watching at some point, but I haven't gotten a chance to go over it, is the Hutch. He debated Rob Noor. Did he post this? In my mind, debating MAGA. This is it.
You couldn't be more transparent.
Jesus Christ.
You don't give a. You don't give a. You don't give a. Why are people that do politics on?
It was painful. Okay, well, I did a lot of reading into this situation because of some really stupid things I saw on Twitter. So I read into this situation quite a bit. So I'm super curious. 1 second. Can I make it to where these stop popping up like that every time? There we go. Rob probably won. Probably, just because Rob's a good debater, but I don't know if that's necessarily an endorsement of whether he was right. We'll just have to see.
Line so f***ing weird. This is him conceding bad faith right now. Now, what would I have said if Joe Biden did something like that? Nothing. In fact,
oh my God. Every single time I start something, you link me another Twitter link. Okay, we're going to get rid of some of these tabs, okay? No, I just closed out the tab that I wanted. Wait, Control-Shift-T?
you couldn't be more
Can't stop me. Okay. Got the cat videos done? Wait, which cat video were you referencing? I will say, Tron, there was a good segment at the very beginning of this stream, okay? Does anyone think that this fight between MTG and Laura Loomer smells like two little girls fighting over their boyfriend? No? That's just me then? You accused Jews of using space lasers to control the world, and you called the former executive director of Black Voices for Trump a N-word. Jesus Christ. Let it keep going. Let him keep pouring kerosene on the dumpster fire, okay? Let it keep happening. Let it keep happening. I do not care. I do not care. Rob is usually decent, but he went rogue in this one. Uh-oh.
transparent that you don't give a. You don't give a. You don't give a. Why are people that do politics online so f***ing weird? This is him conceding bad faith right now. Now, what would I have said if Joe Biden did something like that? Nothing. In fact, So at this point, it is now revealed Rob has no idea why people are upset. I don't give a shit what the rules are. I'm saying know what the rules are? No, I don't give a shit right now. What I give a shit right now is, do you think? Because listen, he's straight.
No way he said that. I don't care what the rules are. Oh man, yeah, maybe Rob sucked in this debate. That'd be surprising because he's usually a really good debater, but I guess we'll have to see.
Up John Goodman. Rob,
Point you're missing.
Rob, why? Why are you like this, Rob? Let's review the conversation I had with Rob Noor. Boy, was it something. So he was talking about the...
So he reviews his own debate? We don't get to just see the... Oh, man, does he not just have... Okay.
Situation at the Arlington cemetery, and he got very aggressive with me. You can tell that he models his like debate style after
Tron, Google how to do it and send me a
It's just funny to me, like, people call
how to do that.
Rob reasonable, and that is just not my read on him.
Oh, Rob is not reasonable. Rob is not reasonable. He's a very good debater. All right? And I don't think that he's like a bad person. Right? Whereas like I can look at other conservative commentators and say that person's a bad person. Rob's not a bad person, but he is He's not necessarily good faith, and he's there to win the debate. When other people break rules, you can break them. You better not do a review of a debate. See if Rob has... I don't know if Rob... I thought that Rob's YouTube channel got taken down, which is why I didn't even look him up. I guess he's not. Damn, why did I think that his YouTube channel got taken down?
Did you concede yes or no?
Okay. Sorry, I didn't know that his was a debate review. That's cringe as... For what? I don't know. Lots of conservatives get banned from all sorts of platforms for all sorts of different reasons. Some of them bullshit, some of them totally legitimate. Charlie Kirk, Hunter Avalon? I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Yeah, I got this video here.
Do you think it was fairly obvious that I was doing so in a sarcastic way to advance the conversation?
So wait a minute. That's right. That's right. So first question I have for you is, can you point to me any of your tweets or any of your videos that you've done talking about the claims from these family members?
I didn't talk about that.
You didn't talk about it?
No.
Okay, but you were heavily interested in talking about how Trump disrespected the soldiers, correct?
Yeah.
So would you say that a reasonable interpretation from the people listening to you then could be that you're full of shit and you don't actually care about disrespecting family members of fallen soldiers because you didn't even bother to talk about what these particular families themselves have talked about?
Sure, I mean, if you want to go
Wait,
with that,
I want to
fine.
catch a hound hour.
So you acknowledge it? You acknowledge it?
I mean, if that's what you think, then that's fine.
No, it's not what I think. It's what I'm asking.
You asked me. Okay, go ahead.
I'm asking for your. You can't just say sure and then say if that's what you think. If that's not what I think, then please give me a defense. Give me a reason.
So I'm trying to understand your logic here.
Yes.
So you're saying that if I have not tweeted about these particular families, then I couldn't possibly care about like rules at Arlington. That's what you're saying, right?
I'm saying that your concern of the rules in Arlington are, you correct me if I'm wrong, that it is disrespectful to dead soldiers and their families, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. If you really cared about the thoughts and...
It is absolutely disrespectful to do a political event at Arlington National Cemetery. Why use water move? I'm just trying to catch a hound hour. I keep on forgetting. I keep on killing them.
Feelings of dead soldiers and their families, and these aren't random families that we're talking about. We're literally talking about the families and their statements of the event that you're criticizing and what they have said. If you really cared about disparaging family members of fallen soldiers, surely you would have breathed anything on this, and yet you haven't. Why?
If what? What is his...
Rob.
And these aren't random families that we're talking about. We're literally talking about the families and their statements of the event that you're criticizing and what they have said. If you really cared about disparaging family members of fallen soldiers, surely you would have breathed anything on this, and yet you haven't. Why?
Because I don't have to take a Gold Star family's political statements as... I don't have to respect their political statements. I just have to not disparage or not do something that is dishonoring the memory of the soldiers at the thing. I'm sorry. I respect Gold Star families. They've obviously suffered a loss. It's in the name. The Gold Star family means that their child died in combat, right? So I just don't. Why is this? Here's a question. Just because someone's child died in war, does that mean that they're completely unimpeachable? The family members are completely unimpeachable, that we have to listen to all of their takes and just be 100% can't push back as a Gold Star family. They know more than me. No.
Have said, if you really cared about disparaging family members of fallen soldiers, surely you would have breathed anything on this, and yet you haven't. Why?
Rob, so there were 4 soldiers that were ambushed and killed in Niger in 2017. There was one Gold Star family who spoke to their experience when Trump called them. He said that they said that he told her, well, your husband knew the risks before he got involved, and that he didn't even mention the soldier's name. Did you say anything about that when it happened?
No, I don't remember also going to X and complaining when I saw footage of Arlington when Barack Obama or Joe Biden were there. Biden himself using...
That's because they didn't break the rules. That's because the rules lay out what you're allowed to do at Arlington Cemetery. And we've been over this multiple times. You're not allowed to do anything political there, but if there is some kind of, official ceremony, laying a wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier, or if there's some there's like an official ceremony happening at some part of the thing, that's not a political statement. Now, people might think that it's a political statement, or maybe you can like wiggle around the edges of it, but that's kind of like, I don't know, a duty of the president or vice president of the United States to go to Arlington National Cemetery on Memorial Day, which is where they keep on getting all this footage of Joe Biden at Arlington National Cemetery. That was on Memorial Day at a wreath-laying ceremony that was officially sanctioned by the people who run Arlington National Cemetery. Meanwhile, Trump, they told him, you can absolutely go to the tomb of the unknown soldier and lay a wreath, and you can have cameras there and take pictures of that. But like once you go into the private areas of the cemetery, you can't bring your campaign staff. You can't bring cameras. You can't take video. You're going there to honor the people that fell, that you're like going there to like support the families of, right? And if he had just done that, no one would have a single problem with it. But instead, he went to the tomb of the unknown soldier. He laid a wreath down there. He then went to Section 60, where these people are laid to rest. He brought his campaign staff. They shoved a Arlington National Cemetery worker out of the way and called them a... And then they took video for a political attack ad. Whole place was founded on breaking rules? What are you talking about? How's it going, Taco Bell toilet seat? I'm sorry for your name. In the Joe Biden video, I believe there's a disclaimer specifying that it was not a political endorsement. Well, if you can send that to me. Biden putting on that Trump hat was the best thing he's ever done. I don't know if it's the best thing he's ever done, but it was certainly, like, this is our most divisive president that the conservatives have ever seen, the most divisive guy in the entire world. And he's sitting there with a guy who has a Trump hat on, and he's, laughing along, and he puts the hat on and everybody's cheering, and he's joking around with the guy as he's making fun of his age, and he's still being a likable person. I don't know. It was a fine thing for him to do.
Footage of him in Arlington for a campaign. I didn't stand and say, oh my God, how disrespectful, blah, blah, blah. You're the person making the affirmative claim, as is Kamala Harris's family, let me finish, as in this media and Kamala Harris's campaign, that are saying Trump's disrespectful of soldiers because of this event, and this event that he was invited to, the very fallen soldiers, they haven't given two shits, yourself included, as to what their feelings were. Not at all. So the idea that if you would just admit, yeah, you're right, I actually don't give a shit what these people say. I don't give a shit about falling soldiers. I only give a shit about using this as an attack against Donald Trump. Then we could move on to your line of questioning.
Rob, one of my best friends from high school, his name was Tim Shea. He was killed in Iraq in 2004, I believe. I do care about dead soldiers. It's a terrible thing when it happens.
Then why haven't you covered what these families have talked about?
Let's skip with this. Let's get to the particulars of why what Trump did was wrong. Can we do that?
No, we can't, because your ultimate conclusion of why what he did. I'll tell you why we can't, because I'll tell you why we can't, because you've already conceded.
I will concede. I will concede whatever you want me to concede. Can we move on to the next thing?
No. Because this you're not conceding. You're not conceding. Okay, I just want you concede in this framework.
Why is Rob already so mad, dude?
and then we can move on. You say right now, I, Hutch, literally do not give a shit about fallen soldiers or about these families. I don't give a shit. I only care about this for partisan politics. No, not if it helps. Not if it helps. You could say, I'm going to.
Jesus Christ. I can't. One second. Joe Biden's ad contained a disclaimer that said the use of the Defense Department footage does not imply an endorsement of the Biden campaign. Wait, was it not even his own footage? It was Defense Department footage? Oh, man. Come on. It's a Memorial Day campaign ad. A photo dated May 31st of 2010 while he was performing his duties as vice president, not part of a campaign. So it's not a political campaign stop. Let's see if he brings this up.
I'm going to let you say your piece here for a couple minutes now, and then I'm going to tell you why we can't just move on. So you go ahead and filibuster and say your piece of what you want, and then I can tell you why that's bullshit. Go.
Also, chat, someone give me some names for Hound Hour here.
Go for it.
Okay. Are we at the point where I can talk about like why what Trump did was bad?
You can talk about what you want for 1 minute, and then I'm going to talk about why we can't move on and what you're saying is bullshit. You're on the clock. Go ahead. You got a minute.
Are you not going to address the substance of anything I say?
Are you going to let me explain why I'm not going to?
What are we doing here, Rob?
What are we
doing here? You called into my show because I was making the point that you don't give a shit about these families of fallen soldiers. Instead, you're politically grandstanding. And then you come on and sarcastically say, yeah, I'll concede whatever you want. You're right. I didn't talk about them. I'll concede for the sake of argument. Now let's talk about what I want to talk about.
You're assigning something that doesn't apply to me. I don't tweet about a lot of things. I don't tweet about a lot of things, Rob. That doesn't mean that I don't care about anything that I don't tweet about. I've never tweeted about, I think, like starvation in Africa. Do you think that I don't care that people starve in the world?
It is not. What you're doing is what you're making.
This is an incredibly flawed way.
It is not incredibly.
Whether or not somebody cares about something.
It is not incredibly flawed because these families are the particular families in the particular incident that we're talking about that you're saying proves that Trump disparages the families of fallen soldiers. And when these people specifically,
is that what the argument is over? I'm sorry, conservatives trying to make the case that Trump doesn't, that Trump like cares about like literally anyone but himself, especially like when he talks about like fallen soldiers, given the fact that there's so many examples of him saying like mean bullshit about random dead veterans is just so laughable. Like the conversation is this: Trump in his always like continual approach towards any given thing, it is always about self-aggrandizement, and it is always about trying to make himself look good and everybody else look bad, right? This trip was not about showing honor to the people who died on, August of whatever, when they pulled out of Afghanistan. I think Devil Dog's a little too on the nose. And also there's only 7, or wait, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, there's 10. But anyways, what was I saying? Oh yeah, like Trump, like the reason Trump went there is because he wanted to say like, oh, well, I went and I honored these families. Where was Joe Biden and Kamala Harris? Blah, 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 which he did. He wanted to cause a media storm. When he was told that, hey, you can't bring your campaign officials or anyone like in your campaign to the site with you. You can go and you can like show your support for these families, but you can't like go and make any political statements at that thing. Not only did he go to the place, not only did he bring his campaign staff, not only did they bring cameras and video recording equipment, right? They took photos and shot video for an attack ad, a political attack ad. And then after they left, they held a political press conference where they all shat on Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. The entire thing was a political stunt. there's something, and I need some help trying to figure out like what it is I'm identifying. There's something about the MAGA movement, and especially everything to do with Trump, where it's like people like the aesthetics of a certain thing, but they don't care about that thing whatsoever. All right. So like they care about the aesthetics of honoring the dead and honoring, showing respect for our fallen soldiers, but they don't actually give a fuck about it. Right? They care about like someone like appearing strong, right? But when it actually comes time for that person to show strength, it doesn't matter, right? Like Trump, he's not a strong man. He is a wimpy little who cries about everything that everyone does to him all the time instead of taking accountability for a goddamn thing. Name one time that Trump has ever taken accountability for up. Even in a roundabout way. It's always someone else's fault. All the people that he hired and then fired. That's just politics? No, I don't think so. I don't think that that's just like politics thing. Because in the past, I still can't get over him bragging about Viktor Orban. It's bad. It's bad, Sashi. But it's not just politics, because if you look pre-Trump, like the smallest thing would completely destroy a person's political career. The smallest thing would destroy someone's political career. But here we are, 10 years into Trumpism, maybe 9. And there's nothing that Trump can do that people will ever, like his people will never criticize him. Compare and contrast. Hound Deer. Oh, well, I think we have a good name, Hound Deer. But like compare and contrast how Democrat voters treated Joe Biden, or how they still treat Kamala Harris. There's no sycophant, like it's not like sycophantic behavior like you see with the Trump people, right? If Democratic politicians do something that the voters don't like, the voters are going to get mad about it, and they're going to go onto social media and they're going to cry and moan about how bad the Democrats are. But if the Republicans see Trump do something horrible or crazy or say something, I'm sorry, like actually like mentally impaired type shit, there's always an excuse. There's always an excuse. There is no floor for any kind of like standards for their behavior. They roasted Obama over using the wrong hand to salute, for wearing a tan suit, and for liking Dijon mustard. Well, that's like the opposite side attacking them. But I'm saying like the Democrats will hold their politicians, the politicians accountable. The Democrats will attack their politicians for not doing something that they want. Republicans don't do that to Donald Trump. Donald Trump did not deliver this economic miracle that they all say that he did. And yet they say that he did. There was a right-wing news segment attacking Taylor Swift because she was enabling idolatry of her, but that's really just what Trump is. Yo, Sashi, copy and paste the title of that video into chat, and I'll watch that one next, okay? Jesus Christ.
Say, actually, it's Kamala Harris. We wanted Trump there, and it's Kamala Harris that disparaged them. You haven't given a shit to even breathe one sentence on what these people have said. And I'll finish by saying this. When you said the reason that having this conversation about the rules matters is because ultimately these rules being broken by Trump proves that he doesn't care about the families of fallen soldiers, and you won't even talk about the families in this particular incident. Not in some random incident that occurred in 2017 or some random incident that occurred elsewhere, but the specific incident precedent that you're saying that proves that Trump doesn't care about fallen soldiers' family, and you won't even breathe a word. And then worse, you just sort of sarcastically go,
I don't want to start this whole conversation over. I don't understand what the Rob's point is. What is Rob's point? What is he so mad about?
Trump disparages the families of fallen soldiers. And when these people specifically say, actually, it's Kamala Harris, we wanted Trump there.
Also, here's the thing. I think that the Trump people are extremely defensive and dismissive because the left wing makes up so much shit about him. That's the thing. That's the crazy thing. No, we don't. We don't. That's the thing, is that there's 5 billion different things that Trump has done that you can attack him for. But it's just because there's so much dumb, horrible, or like just actually stupid things that he says or does, right? That because he gets attacked for all of the things that he actually does, it seems like there's some things that are made up, or it seems like, oh, well, they're just attacking him over nothing. No, he's actually just doing that many bad things. It makes it seem like there's a bunch of shit that's being made up about him, but no, he just actually does a bunch of crazy unhinged things constantly, day in and day out, every single day, the entire time that he was president, the entire time that he lost the election, there's a bunch of made up shit too. The amount of shit that I see like attacking Trump is all shit that he's actually done. Oh, I'm sorry. He didn't say that we should inject bleach. You're right. There was one word that was changed. It wasn't bleach. It was disinfectant. That we should be injecting disinfectant into our brain or into our bloodstreams. Oh, I'm sorry. You guys totally got me. Totally fake news. He didn't say inject bleach. He just said, like string up some like Christmas lights inside of your stomach and inject disinfectant. Oh man, you guys totally, dude. It's just crazy. He just does a bunch of stuff that's completely out of pocket, and you guys will find a way to excuse literally 100% of it. Was that comment from the same press conference where he was posing those things to doctors? Yeah, I'm sorry, you have to actually be to think that injecting disinfectant into your veins is a good thing.
Supposing we hit the body with a tremendous, whether it's ultraviolet or just very powerful light, and I think you said that hasn't been checked, but you're going to test it. And then I said, supposing you brought the light inside the body, which you can do either through the
light up inside the body with ultraviolet light is going to kill the virus.
Skin or in some other way. And I think you said you're going to test that too. Sounds interesting. And I think you said you're going to test that too. Sounds interesting. Which you can do either through the skin or in some other way. And I think you said you're going to test that too. Sounds interesting. Right, and then I see the disinfectant where it knocks it out in a minute.
Oh gosh, she's dying inside.
1 minute. And is there a way we can do something like that by injection inside or almost a cleaning? Because you see it gets on the lungs and it does a tremendous number of the lungs. So it'd be interesting to check that. So that you're going to have to use medical doctors with, but it sounds interesting to me. So we'll see. But the whole concept of the light, the way it kills it in 1 minute, that's pretty powerful. Steve, please.
Jesus Christ. There is a light treatment that was proposed, which he was probably referencing. They also were proposing ivermectin, and then a bunch of people shot out their insides. I don't know why this was ever news. Yeah, no, it's really hard. I understand, Zolo. It's really hard when there's a president that you really like who goes up and says like actually microcephalic Zika baby tier stupid shit on an ever increasing basis over the course of his presidency. Like, man, I don't know why it was news either. Just like the leader of the free world is suggesting that we inject disinfectant into our... Whenever he does something that's crazy. Newsmax host. Okay, I will copy and paste that into the search bar here in a minute. Okay. You can make that point, but making that point about that circumstance just doesn't add up to me. He's talking about injecting disinfectant into your veins. That's not a potential treatment, Taco Bell. Okay, I gotta keep watching the video. I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry if you guys think that, like, well, I'm gonna be the good faith man right here. I am Mr. Good Faith, and I think that, well, he was just proposing that we should look into injecting disinfectant into our veins. I'm sorry. That's you're not being good faith. You're being it's not contrarian. I don't even have a word for it. It's like, you're giving so much grace to this person who says the stupidest shit every single time he opens his mouth. And you have to, like, go around the edges of everything he says to find some tangential thing that might be what he's kind of referencing. How many layers of irony are we on right now?
And it's Kamala Harris that disparaged them. You haven't given a shit to even breathe one sentence on what these people have said. And I'll finish by saying this. When you said the reason that having this conversation about the rules matters is because ultimately these rules being broken by Trump proves that he doesn't care about the families of fallen soldiers, and you won't even talk about the families in this particular incident. Not in some random incident that occurred in 2017 or some random incident that occurred elsewhere, but the specific incident that you're saying that proves that Trump doesn't care about fallen soldiers' family, and you won't even breathe a word. And then worse, you just sort of sarcastically go, yeah, I'll concede whatever you want me to, just so we can move to what I want to talk about. You couldn't be more transparent that you don't give a shit. You don't give a shit. You don't give a shit. That's the point. You only care about using this as a weapon to attack Donald Trump, just like Kamala Harris, just like the mainstream media. You don't give a shit about these families. You don't care. You just want to weaponize going after Trump for breaking some sort of rules violation that you weren't even aware of 3 weeks ago.
Okay, so I want to ask you a question.
Sure.
Just because we're not aware of the rule doesn't mean that it makes it any more acceptable. He was made aware of the rules. That's the thing, Rob. He was made aware of the rules. Again, he doesn't know what he's talking about, so he uses inappropriate words. The meaning is pretty clear if someone isn't trying to strawman him. Taco Bell, save me from my liberal bias. Save me from my liberal bias right now, okay? What was Trump trying to get across when he said we should look into injecting disinfectant into the veins? Give me the good faith. This isn't actually the, like, craziest, most thing anyone in the world has ever said, all right? Help me. The Springfield, Ohio straight out of European blood libel programs. Well, we've been getting into that. We've been getting into that for the past couple of days. Still waiting for anybody to, like, have the balls to come on and debate me about it. I am not moving forward until I have a conservative or a centrist tell me Steelman. He was talking about treatments that were being explored at the time. There is no treatment that was being explored at the time that involved injecting disinfectant into anybody's veins. Oh my God, actually reading this makes it so much worse. And I think you said you're going to test that too. Sounds interesting, right? And then I see the disinfectant where it knocks it out in 1 minute. 1 minute. And is there a way we can do something like that by injection inside or almost a cleaning? No, there was no, wait, hold on. There was no treatment. He was saying, is there a way we can do something like that by injection inside or almost a cleaning? A disinfectant isn't injecting bleach either. Bleach is a disinfectant. You realize that, right? Is that the entire lie? They said bleach instead of disinfectant? Oh my God, Talon, you're actually, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that I was talking to, like, I've been trying to say the R word less, right? I've been trying to say the word less because it's not a good thing to say, and it's something that I recognize I should change in my vocabulary. Talon, you're actually clinically, if you think you would inject it into the lungs and esophagus, not veins, brother, I don't know if your handler is letting you use the computer right now. Yes, but a disinfectant isn't bleach. Dude, that is the weakest defense of all time. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that it's you're giving him so much grace, and you're attacking the media for using bleach instead of disinfectant. It is just nothing. That is a nothing argument. Okay, let's get done with this. Okay, I want to play Pokemon.
Let's say there's a cemetery for fallen soldiers.
Okay.
And let's say there's a fallen soldier, and this person was die-hard MAGA. Die-hard, right?
Okay.
Loved Trump, and was killed in Afghanistan or whatever. Would you be okay with Joe Biden taking a selfie with that person's headstone visible in the selfie for a campaign photo? Would you be okay with that?
Whether or not I would be okay is irrelevant to this specific situation.
What do
Though
you
I
mean
will
it's
answer
not-
it.
what do you mean it's
Though I will
irrelevant?
answer it. Though I will answer it because it wouldn't prove me being okay with it. Wouldn't prove whether or not the other side or the families.
I am, because it's a lie. If he said bleach, then I'd be right there with you. What is significantly different about the statement? Well, we should look into injecting bleach into your system. Hey, thank you for the sub, my buddy. Amazing. Did my overlay just die? Uh-oh.
That's
Okay, tell me, what is the difference in these two statements? We should look into injecting bleach into people's veins because it would it kills it in under 1 minute, and we should look into injecting bleach inside the body because it kills the virus in under 1 minute. Both of these statements are equally stupid. Both of these statements are essentially synonyms of each other. If I went and injected Lysol into my veins, I would die just as surely as if I injected bleach into my veins. I'm not sure if there's a single disinfectant that a person can consume that would kill coronavirus. It is not clear that he meant antiseptics. Because an antiseptic aren't those antibiotics? Antibiotics don't work on viruses. Then he shouldn't say anything, Taco. Yeah, we just read that, Testicle Johnson. The thing is, this is insane. It's insane. There's no crazy statement that Trump can make that people won't find some way to defend. It's insane. I'm not gonna lie, it makes me not want to stream anymore. Because I don't feel like I live in the same world as you people. I can't have a conversation with someone that lives in another dimension of fact. Where every word can be twisted to say, well, actually what he meant to say was something that was actually super intelligent, or something that was just like a misunderstanding, when it's the stupidest crazy thing that the leader of the free world is saying in front of all of the cameras in the entire world. He's an embarrassment. Why do I have to live in the same worlds as people that are defending this crazy shit? Okay, let's finish the video. I just want to watch the video. I want to play Pokemon.
About why Joe Biden himself, or why Donald Trump himself, was a piece of shit and directly did things that were far more offensive to the family. Now, what would I have said if Joe Biden did something like that? Nothing. In fact, I've long since taken the stance that both sides oftentimes take terrible tragedies and then put those people up as sort of Gold Star families, or Gold Star, I understand, is just talking about military, but what do they call when an elite?
Yes, and Trump's bias is that he's a... Thank you. Finally, we agree on something, Taco Bell.
Well, the family of someone who's died of an illegal immigrant, angel moms, is that the term they use?
Yeah, that's a lot of the Republican side.
I've said many, many times, like, listen, I understand the political importance of that, and I understand how powerful that message can be, but I also understand that a lot of it's emotional, and I don't usually weigh in on a lot of those things. What makes this case uniquely different is this. So I wouldn't have, if Biden had done that before, I'd have probably been more time talking about how he had dementia, and it's being covered up by people like you and the mainstream media, how he was a disaster for the economy. I'm not pivoting. I'm telling you, you're acting like, oh, if Biden did something, if he posed in front of things at Arlington and used it for his campaign, you would have flipped out. I wouldn't have. In fact, isn't it true that Biden used photos of him at Arlington in a campaign ad in Memorial Day of 2020? Can you go back and find any video of mine or any tweet of mine criticizing that? Can you do that?
Rob,
you can't? You can't?
Wait, let me speak, for Christ's sakes. Everybody, listen, so many people in the left-wing space say that you're reasonable.
That's because they're smart.
Can we have a reasonable discussion
I don't think he's
without
reasonable.
you keep interrupting me and pivoting to things that don't matter?
How does that not matter?
So the rule at Arlington Cemetery, especially in Section 60, which is a spot where
it's not especially in Section 60. It just so happens that's where Trump was when this happened. Oh, cool. Look at that. A haunter. Get dragon typed, loser. Anyways. There we go. Okay. So it's not that it was oh, he's in Section 60 and that's like the specific rule. No, this is the rule for all of the people and all of the, everything to do with an Arlington National Cemetery. It's just the way that it be. It's just the way that it be. He was told about the rules going into it. He blatantly broke the rules. One second. I just don't. He says stupid shit, but some people want him to be far more stupid. Find me one clip. Find me one singular clip of Trump speaking and him sounding intelligent.
Recent deaths go. The rule is that they assign their own photographer to make sure that instances like what happened with Trump don't happen, where someone's headstone who didn't ask to be involved in any kind of political ad or photo or whatever, to make sure that those fallen soldiers are not against their will used in that kind of way. Do you understand why that rule exists? Would you agree that that's a good rule?
I would say that it's a rule that's equally as important as, aren't there rules that also say that you can't give political speeches in front of uniformed members? Isn't that true? There's a rule, I believe, that says that.
If you're the president, I don't think that matters because there's always going to be Marines next to you, right?
I don't know the particulars of that rule. Can we focus on this rule?
What I'm saying is that you can say, what I'm telling you is, I'm telling you in the past, it seems that things similar to that rule have been violated, and with campaign ads, which I didn't say a peep about, which shows that your hypothetical, if this happened, you would freak out, is untrue, because I didn't in 2020. Whether or not this rule, let me finish, I'm answering. Whether or not this particular rule is something that'd be necessary, I don't know. I'd have to think there could be particulars where I would think that maybe it wouldn't apply, maybe it should apply, whatever. I don't think necessarily it's a very important thing. I think the fact that we see that these families are talking about far more grievous, specific things that have been done by the opponents that are being ignored by not just the Kamala Harris campaign, but the media.
Oh, are you saying that they immediately went out and did a press conference where they did political campaigning immediately afterwards, which is also specifically against the rules? It says that you can't have a political thing either close in time or location to Arlington National Cemetery after visiting it. Oh man.
And you shows that you don't actually give a shit about any of this.
I'm asking you without pivoting. Can you?
I'm not pivoting. Not I just did I include in there?
No, let me ask the question. Do you not agree that it would be a good rule, generally speaking, to make sure that you don't feature the headstone of some soldier who didn't ask to be a part of anything campaign related? Do you not agree that this would be a generally good rule to make sure that the grave sites of fallen soldiers are not disrespected?
Okay, I'll repeat the answer. You're incapable of hearing, so I'll repeat the answer. In general,
Can you do it without pivoting?
I could do it in the way that I feel like doing. In general, I would say I'm not going to listen to your demands as someone who transparently has already conceded that you don't give a shit about the fallen soldiers or about these particular families. You conceded, as you admitted.
That's a pretty foul thing to suggest.
Hutch
That's
conceded.
a pretty foul thing to suggest.
Right, and you conceded it. You conceded it. That's what you
I
said.
did it for the purpose of
Oh,
advancing the
you
conversation.
conceded. Fine. You conceded. Fine. So you
tell me,
conceded.
to
So
tell me-
Hutch
listen,
has
listen,
conceded.
to tell
Yeah, a
me-
simple yes or no. I'll
listen,
answer your
listen,
question.
Rob,
I'll answer
Rob.
your question with a simple.
I don't even want to watch the rest of this. This is unwatchable. Rob is too aggressive. He's too aggressive. It's like, it's annoying how aggressive he's being for no reason.
Yes or no? If you answer mine with a simple yes or no.
It's a foul
Fair enough.
thing to
Fair
suggest.
enough.
Don't
answer.
accuse me of that. That's so
You
foul.
conceded.
don't know me.
You conceded it, Hutch. You conceded it. Yes or no?
You're
Did
playing-
you concede
you're
that?
playing games right now.
Yes or no?
Rob,
Did you
listen to me.
concede that?
I have lost a best friend. He was one of my best friends.
That's not the question. A simple
it was
yes or
one
no.
of-
Don't pivot.
Listen to
Don't
me.
pivot.
Listen.
Don't
I
pivot.
know
A
what it's
simple
like.
yes or no. Why are you
I
pivoting?
know
You're
what-
pivoting.
I
Why are you
know what it's
pivoting?
like.
A simple yes or no. Did you concede that you don't give a shit about these particular families?
Let me say it plainly.
Did you
Let me-
concede yes or no? Did you concede yes or no?
This is
Did
so
you- yes or no?
dog
I
shit,
would like
dude.
you to
What the
answer.
is
yes or no,
wrong
and
with
then
him?
you can expound. Did you concede? Hutch, did you concede?
I feel like ever since his conversation with Destiny, where they had that 5-hour long conversation, and Rob got really upsetty spaghetti about the end, like, I feel like it feels like he's like brain broken. Modern political discussions remind me so much of arguing with Christians in the 90s. I don't have an axiomatic belief that Donald Trump is a bad person. I'm going based off of his actions and the statements that he has made. Okay? I used to be more like you. I used to say we shouldn't attack Trump on we should only attack him on the big things. We should only attack him on the big things because it just makes us look unhinged when we attack him over the small things. But the problem is that even when we attack him on the big things, there's a million excuses for it. It doesn't matter what we attack him over. If it's the big stuff, if it's the small stuff, if it's the stuff that he literally tried to steal the election in 2020, provably, he doesn't even, like, the defenses in court haven't even been like, oh, well, this was totally legal or anything like that. It's just been delay. We don't even want to bring this to court. Even though they said when he was, most people used to be more like me. The internet radicalizes people, though. I'm not even radical. I was de-radicalized from being a socialist. I used to be a socialist. I'm not a socialist anymore. But I've never been given a reason to think that Trump is at all intelligent. I've never been given a reason to think that he's a good person. And I've not been given a reason ever to vote for him. There's literally not a single reason to vote for him. Meanwhile, we have to look at all these crazy attacks that the conservatives and Trump himself put out there, like Haitians are eating everyone's cats and dogs. And we have to treat these people as equal. I don't know, man. I don't know. It just feels like, I feel like what's being put in front of me is a nice Italian dinner, spaghetti, Parmesan, marinara. I don't know. All right. We got nice Italian spaghetti, Parmesan, marinara dinner in front of me on my left. And on the other side is a literal drowned rat covered in fleas and ticks that's been rotting in the summer sun for 3 days. And I'm supposed to, for some reason, give some credit to the chef on the right with the drowned rat. I'm supposed to give some credit to the chef, like, it's not edible, so I can't say that. The presentation isn't that good. I like the plates. There's not a single redeeming quality about Trump. That's the thing. There's not a single redeeming policy. There's not a redeeming personality trait. There's not a redeeming anything. Here's the thing. If I misrepresent something and it's an actual misrepresentation, I will take that criticism and I will adjust accordingly. But to this point, I have not been given a single way that I have misrepresented Trump in a way that matters. You can say, oh, well, you said that he had said inject bleach and not disinfectant. That's not a meaningful difference to me. That's not a meaningful difference to me. I don't understand what you're asking Taco Bell either, Internet Gas. Name one Republican on Biden. And I'll be fair to, listen, if there is something that Trump does that's good, I'll give him credit. There was something that he proposed a national or a sovereign wealth fund. That is one of the best policies any country could do, bar none, no critiques. That's just good. And I said as much. That's a good policy. I'll be fair to Trump when there's something to be fair about. What about the people that said, what are you talking about? I might have missed something. That said drink? I'm going to try and suffer through a little bit more of this. I'm going to try.
Why are you pivoting?
Rehabilitate your image.
Why are you pivoting?
Humiliating yourself. After humiliating yourself with the AI debacle.
More pivoting. Pivoting. A simple yes or no.
You accused me.
A simple yes or no. Did you concede? Did you concede?
Thing to suggest.
A simple yes or no. Did you concede that you didn't give a shit about these particular families of these fallen soldiers? Did you concede yes or no? Did you concede yes or no?
Do you think it was fairly obvious that I was doing so in a sarcastic way to advance the conversation?
So wait a minute. That's right. Now, does the audience see? Do you see? Do you see what happens? Do you see? Exactly as I said.
Oh. You should drink bleach instead of inject. Okay, gotcha. You'd have to show me someone saying that. I remember people talking about injecting bleach. I remember Biden talking about injecting bleach. I don't remember anyone saying drink bleach. No, it's fine, Taco Bell. I get so aggravated because most of the time when someone comes into my chat and they start giving any kind of good faith, and still, I would say that you're being way too good faith with Trump. You're being too reasonable because it's just, it's crazy. But I'm fine. I'm fine with conservatives in my chat because, as you can see, there's conservatives in my chat. But and I have friends that are conservative, and I can look at some things about conservatism that are good, not even just fine, but good. But unfortunately, the conservatives right now, they're wholesale, lockstep behind Trump, no matter what he says or what he does. Happy Friday 13th, Nico Pluto. How's it going, Justin? Freaking everyone's coming through.
So this is what Hutch did. So the entire point of me doing this topic tonight was that people like Hutch don't give a shit about.
By the way, if you guys haven't already, right now this is my only form of income. All right, still looking for jobs and stuff like that. Please, if you guys are feeling generous, all right, if you guys are feeling generous, I'm going to throw a link into both the YouTube and the Twitch chat. Okay, this is the only way I can make money right now until I'm able to find a job in this dog shit town that I moved to. All right. So if you guys are feeling generous, that's a great way to help me out. Also, subbing, it's September, 30% off, I think, or some shit like that. You guys could sub. That helps me out a whole bunch. Testy did sub earlier today. And also, we'll get rid of all the ads for you because I know that ads are a big contentious point in my chat as of late. So let me see here. Yeah, this is Rob Norrie. He's absolutely losing it recently, dude. He's losing it. Set a sub goal, and when it's filled, wax your nips on stream. Man, I don't know if I could handle the embarrassment of that.
about these soldiers, these families. Kamala Harris doesn't give a shit. The media doesn't give a shit. And instead they just want to pivot to talk about the rules of Arlington. So he comes on and says, sure, I'll concede. Let me finish. He comes on and says, sure, I'll concede so we can talk about what I want to talk about, which is what they always do. They have to control the narrative. They can't talk about things unless they're controlling what's stuff. So I'm like, no, we can't just move on because you're being sarcastic. You're not really conceding. You're like, yeah, I'll concede. Then when pressed on the fact that you concede, you literally do exactly what I said you would do, is say, it's clear that I was being sarcastic and I'm not spurting out. I'm breathing just.
You're not breathing.
Don't talk to me like a fourth grader that you want to teach to masturbate. I know how to breathe. Can you tell everyone?
What did he just say? What did he just say?
Take a breath.
I'm breathing just fine. Hutch, don't talk to me like a fourth grader that you want to teach to masturbate. I know how to breathe.
What the does that mean, Rob? Good faith people in chat, help me out here. What the does that mean? He can't have said, don't talk to me like I'm a fourth grader you're trying to teach to masturbate. He didn't say that, right? Because I must be hallucinating.
I'm not spurting out. I'm breathing just fine. Hutch, don't talk to me like a fourth grader that you want to teach to masturbate. I know how to breathe. Can you tell it?
I don't know what to say, guys. I'm actually completely at a loss for words. What the is that? Don't forget this.
A lot of good things have come out about the hydroxy.
Hold on. We're doing this right now, okay? I maybe Testicle Johnson, maybe, but
everyone, can you tell everyone again? Since we're pivoting, can you tell everyone again about how it gets you off to want to talk to fourth graders about masturbating? Can you tell us about that again?
Bro,
Go ahead.
What is wrong with you, Rob?
Hutch, yes or no? Do you think we should teach fourth graders about masturbation? 10-year-olds.
I think it's fine to teach fourth graders about masturbation,
Thank you.
Rob.
Right,
Yes.
thank you. Okay,
Yes.
so given that, you don't have to talk to me like those fourth graders. I know when to breathe. I'm doing just fine. Go ahead. So you conceded that you didn't give a shit about these families facetiously because you didn't want to talk about the families. You didn't want to talk about. So think about this. As soon as I finish with this point, when you had a chance to finally to address what these family members are saying, instead you said, "I'll just joke and say, sure, I concede, so I don't have to talk about what they said." Further proving your callousness and not giving a shit about the families of fallen soldiers, because you still even here
this
when
is
you
the
had a chance to
entire
address it,
conversation.
said, I don't want to talk about that. I just want to talk about the rules.
Rob doesn't. I don't know if I'm skipping forward.
The people that invited him there said about his opponents shows that you really don't give a shit about fallen soldiers.
I don't. Okay, we're done. That's a good freeze frame. I'm. Oh, is there an actual part of this that's like worth watching?
Did you concede yes or no? Now you're saying there was an anti-MAGA person whose headstone was featured in the pictures that Trump used.
Oh, I understand the confusion.
Show me.
Showed up, and she
pivoting right now. You're pivoting off the analogy. You're pivoting off the analogy to make another analogy because you're refusing to answer my hypothetical.
Wait, no, I'm trying to. I'm laying out the exact same situation.
No, you're not. I asked you a hypothetical instead of answering. You're like, well, what about this hypothetical?
Wait. Let's just make it exactly 1-to-1. If the families of multiple service members invited Kamala to come to Arlington,
why, Talon?
and do a ceremony of remembrance for the fallen soldiers, and she showed up, and she insisted on her own staff taking these photos, and in one of those photos there was a headstone of like a MAGA person, and that person's family got upset. You're telling me right now you wouldn't empathize with that?
No, I'd empathize with them. Can you show me the anti-MAGA person whose headstone was featured?
Oh my God, does he not know? What? He doesn't know. You're right. He doesn't know.
Your direct hypothetical that if there was a headstone featured of a Kamala that was of Kamala's photo op that was a MAGA person, could I sympathize with that MAGA person's family? So that would imply if this is a direct analogy that right now you're saying there was an anti-MAGA person whose headstone was featured in the pictures that Trump used.
Oh, I understand the confusion. So I'm 100% sure that this person is MAGA, but there was the family. Are you just unaware? There was a family member of someone whose headstone was featured in a Trump TikTok, and that family member has made a public statement saying that they're disappointed that their loved one was included in a Trump ad. Now, I don't know if they're anti-MAGA. They could be apolitical. They could be a Republican.
But there is,
Maybe
I'm unaware. You are saying there is a person that's came out and said that headstone right there was my son's, my daughter's. I don't want it used in a political ad. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's what I'm asking. Yeah, I sympathize with that person, absolutely. Do I think that it's a huge deal? No. I don't. I think that a far bigger deal. Now I'll finish. I answer. Notice how I answer. Notice how I directly answer your hypotheticals, and then you insist that you then get to retell. No, I answered your hypothetical. Now I'll expound. By the way, I have to leave at 10 p.m. because I have a prior engagement. So, yeah, I would sympathize with that family, absolutely. I think that that's a far less grievous deal, and things like that occur many times anyways. For example, that could occur in a cemetery. It could have occurred in the Biden thing. Right? It could be the fact that you're making it sound like, well, when Biden did these campaign ads, we don't know if it was directly in the section of Arlington where someone that recently died had been buried. So what? What if it's my great-grandfather who was a vehement Republican that would be furious that the headstone that was shown in the Arlington cemetery under Biden was his great-grandfather's who would have hated Biden? Does that make it any less egregious? Does that mean that you would say, oh, you don't sympathize with that family? And secondly, that's still far less of a grievous situation than what these family members directly are talking about, which, again, you have over and over and over pivoted. You have just said, of course, their family members died. I sympathize with that. Maybe they blame Biden. But what you haven't talked about is them saying the treatment they're receiving from Kamala Harris and Joe Biden is abysmal. And the fact that Kamala Harris is out there saying, I respect the families of fallen soldiers is a lie because she has treated them like shit and has ignored them. And you ignored it. And you ignored it not only in the fact that you haven't talked about it yet, even though you're hyper-focused on this specific situation and doing videos and tweeting about it, but because you came in here and callously came in here and deflected by saying, sure, I'll concede I don't give a shit about them, to avoid everything you could of talking about what these, let me finish, I'll give you the last word, to avoid everything you could of talking about these people said. You don't give a shit. You continue.
There's no way that he's going to end this conversation immediately after getting cooked on not knowing about this.
Again, to deflect. You haven't even once remotely tried to respond to the fact that we're not just talking about, yes, you're sympathetic that their sons died and maybe they blame Harris and Biden. You haven't responded to the fact that if we're going to talk about who's disparaging fallen soldiers, that these particular families say the treatment they've received is shit. And you callously tried to lie and say, sure, I concede, to avoid talking about it because you don't give a you only care about fallen soldiers insofar as it could benefit you going after political opposition that you don't care about. I'll give you the final word and then I have to leave. It has to be like 2 minutes though, because I got an engagement at 10.
Rob, I think it's rich that you're accusing me of not caring about the wishes and feelings of fallen soldiers when you just told me a moment ago that the family who spoke up and said that they didn't appreciate their son's headstone being featured in a Trump ad. You said, it's not that big of a deal. That is you literally saying, I don't give a fuck about the feeling of that person who spoke up. You are massively projecting right now.
It's not. How is that? How is me saying I absolutely
projecting?
How is that me saying I absolutely sympathize with that family member that's upset?
Hey, thank you for the sub, my guy.
Amazing.
T. John Sonks gifted a tier 1 sub to Talon _of_the_Silverhawk. They have given 7 gift subs in the channel.
Testy subbing. Gift subbing, dude. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that, my guy. Let's get some more of these things rolling through, all right? Your boy is hungry and he needs to feed his cats, okay? I'm sure families don't live near Arlington but decide to bury their loved ones there anyways, and that decision includes these rules. Yeah, of course. Like, it's probably a very prestigious thing to be buried there. Man.
about that, which I honestly do, how is that me disparaging that family when I'm admitting absolutely?
You don't think it's a big deal.
I said I don't think it's as big of a. Well, one, it's not that big of a deal, and second, it's nowhere near as big of a deal as specifically it's having these. It's not.
Right. That is
it's not. It is not
saying that you don't care about their feelings, or that
no,
their feelings.
That is not me saying that I don't care about their feelings. Me saying that I would understand it
on this particular thing.
That's bullshit. That's bullshit.
I appreciate their dead son.
I sympathize. Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that absolutely. I think that that's terrible. I do. I don't think it's near as big of a deal as someone. No, I'll tell you. No, I'll tell you what I agree. No, I'll tell you what I agree. Go ahead.
Rob. So if you agree that that family had a right to be upset, then you agree that those rules are in place for a good reason.
I agree that
avoid this thing happening.
I'll go back to what I said begin, which you refused to listen to, that yes, I absolutely think I could see a reason for those rules. I could see times that they wouldn't really apply. I don't think it's as near a big of deal as having a photo that could have something that you as a family member would say, hey, I don't really like that photo. That is on a completely different level than having a disastrous policy, let me finish, than having a disastrous policy that leads to the death of soldiers, then refusing to show up to events about those soldiers, refusing to say their names, refusing to ever call them, and then putting campaign ads talking about this specific event with these families of these fallen soldiers, saying that you care about the families of fallen soldiers and your opponent don't. I think that that is easily exponentially 10 times worse than what Donald Trump's accused of doing. And the fact that you and Kamala Harris refuse to talk about it and in fact want to come on and make jokes and be sarcastic. Yeah, I'll concede that I feel their pain, whatever.
Because you talk about
it further shows exactly what my criticism, you have proven exactly what my criticism of you is, that you don't give a shit what these people said, that you just want to control the narrative to use this as a political point. That's it. That's what you exhibited in this.
Rob.
All right, it's 10 o'clock, man. Go ahead. You got the last word. I got to go, though.
There's still a minute left. It's not 6:59.
That's what I just said. I got to go here, so go. I said you got the last word.
You just said a moment ago that you don't think it's a big deal. No, hold on. You acknowledged that those rules being in place make sense to make sure that families like the one who are upset about what happened don't experience that kind of pain. So you are tacitly acknowledging that Trump should not have violated those rules.
Do you think those rules should exist for all of Arlington or just this particular section?
All of Arlington.
Look at the rules. The rules.
I just asked you a question. What does that? I said, should that rule exist for that section or all of Arlington?
It's literally, Rob. You can look up the rules. There's an Axios article. I'll send it to you.
I don't give a shit. Listen, real quick. I don't give a shit what the rules are.
I'm saying, know what the rules are?
No, I don't give a shit right now. What I give a shit right now is, do you think? Because listen to me. Because we're talking me and you and what we think be the case and what these rules should be, right? That's what we're talking about. So I'm asking you, do you think these rules should apply to all of Arlington or just this one section?
I don't know how. I'm not familiar with Arlington. I don't know how I would do the rules.
Okay,
to make sure.
Let me be real quick. Let me, because you are incapable of answering this question honestly. Let me try to dumb it down for you in a way that you can't. Do you think? I don't know why. Okay, so I already asked you the hypothetical that you had answered before. So if my great-great-grandfather is buried in a section of Arlington that was used in Joe Biden's 2020 campaign ad, and that would have pissed him off, are you equally outraged and think that Joe Biden should have violated rules?
Instead of dealing with hypotheticals, find me a person.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Why does it matter why does it matter? Why does it matter if I could find a person? Your point is the rules should exist because hypothetically that person could exist.
Oh, so okay. So somebody who getting upset about
just to be clear, just to be clear, if it would turn out the person that said that's my family member in that gravestone there, and he would be upset if they were wrong. If that wasn't their gravestone, then you would say, "Oh, Trump did nothing wrong." Correct?
No, he still broke the rules.
Wait, what are you saying right now, Rob? Is that person
holy? What if they were wrong? What if it was wrong?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because you already
Right.
announced that the
That's
rule,
right.
the
That's
rule,
right.
The rule exists for a good reason.
Right,
You already announced
There's the
this.
point. There's the
Oh
point.
my God,
and I
he's
said,
so
so then you would
mad.
admit that good reason would exist even if it was other sections of Arlington. And then you pivot
course,
back.
yes.
Okay, thank you. Because what you did previously was you pivoted back and said, well, show me a person that was pissed off. Okay, then I look forward to your post criticizing Joe Biden's 2020 campaign ad on Memorial Day where he was showing video of him in Arlington. Because those rules should exist because any of those gravestones featured there could have been family members of people that don't appreciate.
It was an official thing. It was an official ceremony. The rules specifically carve out that those are not what they're talking about because they already take great pains to make sure that those aren't political events, the official ceremonies. So it's totally fine if you want to go in there and you want to take some videos of you at Arlington National Cemetery, you know, like laying down the wreath. Like this is already a non-political ceremony because it's at Arlington National Cemetery or ceremony cemetery. So I don't, he's asking a moral question. The answer is yes. It like at whatever sections that this rule is set down at, it's probably there for a good reason. And I would probably extend it to literally every single section of the cemetery. I would. Why? Well, because we shouldn't be in the business of creating political attack ads. That shouldn't be the purpose of you going to Arlington National Cemetery. That shouldn't be the purpose. Why am I walking? When I'm just like doing this, it's because I'm listening to the actual video. The rules, I'm pretty sure, based off of what I read, I'm pretty sure that the rules apply to all sections of the cemetery, right? Dude, I don't even know what to say. 1 second.
Appreciate Joe Biden. And you think that's equally egregious to what Trump did, correct?
I don't know what kind of rules they have in place for the different.
What does it matter what the rules are? You're saying that's what the rules should be, right?
The Arlington staff, they have their own photographers, and those photographers took that video of Biden on that day in Arlington. They assigned their own photographers to make sure that anybody who comes in there is in compliance with these rules to avoid situations like the one that happened with Trump.
Wait a minute. So if an Arlington photograph would have occurred there with Trump, and it would have included same picture, same gravestones included, but it was an official Arlington person, would you not have empathized with that family member that said, I'm pissed?
The Arlington staff would have framed the photo to make sure that the other headstone wasn't in the video, Rob.
Bullshit.
That's the point you're missing.
Bullshit.
Whoa, that was a stupid point from Hutch. Hold on.
That family, would you not have empathized with that family member that said, I'm pissed?
The Arlington staff would have framed the photo to make sure that the other headstone wasn't in the video.
That's not the... It's because there are official and private ceremonies. There are official ceremonies that Arlington Cemetery is themselves conducting, and they will have the president and the vice president there. These are not political events. Private events, though, are a lot fuzzier as to whether they are going to be actually honoring the dead or if they are going to be, you know, something that they don't want to happen at the cemetery. Because of the election season happening right now, and because of the nature of Donald Trump's visit, they thought, you know what? We need to get in contact with him. Arlington National Cemetery got in contact with Trump, and they specifically laid out what the issues were, what they could do and what they couldn't do, and why. Trump blatantly broke those rules because he doesn't give a about anything that you guys think that he gives a about. He would take a shit on every single grave at Arlington National Cemetery if he thought that it would get him a couple of more thumbs up on Twitter, okay? He doesn't care about anything except for self-aggrandizement. And the fact that you're going to sit here and try and draw some equivalency between official actions done as the Vice President of the United States at official ceremonies at Arlington National Cemetery, and Donald Trump going there with the explicit purpose of filming an attack ad, which we know that that was his purpose because they immediately released an attack ad and they had a press conference immediately after leaving the cemetery attacking their political opponents. What are you asking me? Talking if Arlington Cemetery was a political attack. What are you asking me? It applies to the whole thing? Thank you, Sashi. That's what I thought, but I didn't want to say something that was untrue. I do a lot of hedging. Oh, you know what I just realized? I think that the playback on Twitch is way behind. So I'm going to have to wait for a second before he can respond. Here, I'll kill this stupid ass Magnemite. Stolen land, government already shit on the land? I'm sorry. You're beyond help. You're beyond redemption. I don't know how to help you. I don't consider anything that Confederates had going on, Robert E. Lee's land. I don't give a if someone stole, or was it Robert E. Lee. I don't care. He was a traitor to our country. He was a traitor to our country. Why the do we care? It's not stolen land. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. Every single time I have to interact with you people. Every time I have to hear your stupid responses to, hey, they're disrespecting dead soldiers, and you guys are supposed to be the people that care more about soldiers and veterans than anybody else. And you guys are like, well, didn't you know that Arlington National Cemetery was built on stolen land from a Confederate traitor? And? Who? Who asked?
Bullshit. I can prove it.
Look it up. You have no.
Okay, well then I just want to be clear. Your argument then is in the 2020 campaign ad of Joe Biden, where we see a bunch of gravestones, that the Arlington
DOD staff.
Okay, that DOD staff contacted the family of every single person that's gravestone was shown to make sure they were okay. That's your argument.
How does Hutch seem to know enough about this?
About something I'm not familiar with that section of the cemetery.
Oh, why does it matter? Why does it matter?
Somebody comes in to take a photo or video, it's DOD.
You cede your property rights in the United States when you become a traitor to our country. When you decide to take up arms against the United States, you don't deserve property rights in the United States. Sorry. I actually think that the Confederacy was bad.
Staff that
why does it make sure your argument is horseshit, because it doesn't matter if you know what that particular it doesn't matter, and you already agreed if that rule was there for good reason, that just because it's a DOD staff that's taking the picture, the good reason would be you don't want someone's gravestone in there that doesn't agree with the political message. It doesn't matter if it's a Trump staffer or a DOD staffer taking it. And the idea you're saying, oh, if it was a DOD staff, they would make sure that there's no gravestones of anyone that might not be down with that political message is horseshit.
Yeah.
That's bullshit.
No, it's not.
Okay, so I just want. We'll leave you go on this. So if there is a video, you don't have to agree, but if there is a video that was used in a campaign ad of Joe Biden around headstones in Arlington, your argument is, what you're telling me right now is that you know that the Arlington staff specifically contacted each family member of everyone whose gravestone was seen to make sure that they agreed with the political message of Joe Biden.
I haven't seen this ad that you're talking about. But I'm positive that if I were to find this ad, I'll bet you anything. None of the headstones have visible names.
So what's it matter? You could know that that's your family's headstone?
Because, what do you mean that doesn't matter? What do you mean that doesn't matter?
If you can't see the name of the headstone, but you know, based on the headstone location, everything, that that's your family member, you don't have the right to be upset?
It's not the same thing.
So you don't give a shit. You don't give a shit. Does that family have...
This is aggravating because Hutch is wrong because he doesn't know about this.
The right to be upset, yes.
Rob is wrong because he doesn't know about this. Rob is more wrong, though, because he's trying to justify the wrong actions by Donald Trump. Hutch just doesn't understand. Rob is trying to justify bad actions.
Yes or no?
No, Rob, I'm the one that actually.
That's what I
fucking
thought.
gives
You
a fuck
can't answer.
about the
You don't
rules.
give a shit. You don't give a shit about the rules. You're only using this for political expediency, and you came in here proving
Rob.
that by playing a game and saying
You
you
agreed
actually
that the rules are there for a
you
good
conceded.
reason.
You
You
conceded.
agreed with that.
You conceded that you didn't
You
give a shit about these
agreed
Gold Star
with
families,
the
and then
rules.
you admitted that you did it as a game. Just because you didn't want to
You
talk about what they had to
agreed
say.
with-
Take it
you
easy, Hutch.
agreed
We'll
with the
see you.
rule.
We'll see you, sir.
He cut him off. Alrighty. Let's see here. All right. Well, it's time for me to make dinner. It's been a fun one. It's been an aggravating one. Let's see. Just debate him. I was going to see. He's not streaming right now, but next time I see him live, yeah, I want to talk to him about it. Who is streaming? We're going to raid into Reservoir. All right. I love you guys very much. I might be streaming tomorrow. I'm not 1,000% sure about that because it's a weekend, so I usually don't get to stream on weekends. But I will see you guys next time. We're sending you guys over to Reservoir where something exciting is happening, evidently. So hopefully you guys have fun over there. Go nuts. Have fun. Catch you guys next time. Oh, also, if you guys are watching, this is your first time watching me on YouTube or your first time watching me on Twitch, join the Discord. We have interesting conversations in there. We need more normal people that aren't just going to sit there and argue day in and day out. We need some people that have like a life, okay? We need some people that go out